Today we've hired a van, driver, and guide to take us out to Figueres, birthplace of Salvador Dali. On the way back, we'll stop in the old city of Girona and visit the Jewish quarter. We head east along the Mediterranean coast and then turn north into the foothills of the Pyrenees. Along the way, castles on hilltops look down on tiny villages with old stone churches. If not for the trucks, we could be back in feudal times. Look, Judy, we're almost in France. Maybe we should go get some crepe Suzette or some onion soup. Oh, but here's our exit. Well, maybe next vacation. The road into Figueres is pretty nondescript, as is the town itself, until you get to the Dali Museum. And then things start to get weird. I mean, really weird. Smack in the middle of town is this bizarre red building covered with yellow polka dots, topped with massive eggs, mannequins, and a geodesic dome. Designed by Dali himself, our guide told us that the statues represent his beloved wife Gala, the yellow dots, her favorite type of bread, and the eggs, a safe haven for he and Gala. But who really knows? Born in 1904, Dali was recognized early on as a prodigy and attended art school. He did not achieve fame until he joined the Surrealist movement in Paris in the 1920s. He began to induce in himself paranoid schizophrenic states and paint his strange hallucinatory visions. He once appeared at an exhibition wearing a diving suit, claiming that he was plunging deeply into the subconscious mind. Here it is on display. Eventually, he embraced all things avant-garde, outrageous, and self-promoting. When asked if he used drugs, he famously said, "I do not use drugs. I am drugs." Although he also said, every artist should eat hashish, but only once. Let's spend some time at the Dali Museum.
And you think you may be one of them?
Some of Dali's earlier works show him still trying to find his style. This one looks rather Picasso-esque. This Impressionist piece, The Smiling Venus, is from 1921. She does have a cute little bird. Now these are scary. This guy had some serious issues with sex and death.
Oh, Henry. Oh, Henry.
It's a naked woman. No, it's Abraham Lincoln. No, it's both. The basket of bread, painted in 1945, became the symbol for the Marshall Plan after World War II. Did you know Dali designed the logo for Chupa Chups lollipops? Neither did we. Meanwhile, Judy loves Dali, and she is just digging this.
We're at the Dali Museum. We just saw the Mae West installation. It was wonderful.
Later on, Dali became fascinated by atomic theory, the fact that even solid objects were made up of individual atoms and molecules, with space in between. When he painted Gala as Leda and the Swan, notice that none of the objects are actually touching each other. On the top floor is Dali's own Sistine Chapel. This massive painting covers the entire ceiling of his drawing room. There's Dali and Gala, arms intertwined, entering the gates of heaven. I think that's God, or maybe it's Zeus, in the middle. It's a stunning piece of work, and the picture cannot do it justice. After a few hours, I started to grasp Dali's symbolism, and the weirdness started to make sense. That's when I realized it was time to leave, before I went totally insane. But I left with a new appreciation of Dali's artistic vision and talent, and you gotta admire how he pushed the envelope. On the road again, our next stop is the lovely old city of Girona. The city of Girona prospered as a commercial center during medieval times. Now, there's not much doing except tourism and a university. Over the centuries, they've been conquered by Romans, Moors, French, and various Spanish kingdoms, but they remain staunchly Catalonian. We enter the old city over this iron bridge, which our guide tells us was designed by Eiffel. It's a beautiful day. The Rambla is lovely and lined with outdoor cafes, which means it's time for lunch. I had the paella, which was tasty and beautiful. It was almost too pretty to eat. Judy had the paella negro, which is cooked in the squid's ink, not as pretty and a deeper, more ominous flavor. And for dessert, gelato. That was my idea. That looks tasty. I would like to lick that. We are here on the Rambla of Girona. We've just had a great lunch and are enjoying our ice cream and going for a little walk. Doing a little window shopping. You can see the cathedral in the background. As we approach the center of town, the streets become older and narrower, and we arrive at the Kal Ju, the Jewish quarter, and the Jewish Museum. Jews migrated from Palestine across the Mediterranean, and many settled in Barcelona and Girona. Jews tend to stick together and non-Jews tend to distrust them, so Jewish ghettos, or Kals, developed. By the 1200s, Girona had a thriving Jewish community and was a center for the practice of Kabbalah. It all came to an end in 1492 when Ferdinand and Isabella expelled the Jews and forced those remaining to convert. Much of this history was lost until the 1970s, when urban renewal disclosed the remains of a synagogue and a Jewish cemetery. The museum is filled with old stone tablets and artifacts such as these. This Seder plate's a reproduction of a 15th century Catalonian piece. Judy laughed at the plaque which said, "For the dinner of the Jewish Easter." Here's the Haggadah that goes along with the Seder plate. There are some more contemporary pieces too. The congregation may have disbanded over 500 years ago, but this is still the closest I've been to a synagogue in years. Turning to the other testament, here's the cathedral. It's relatively modern, having been completed in only 1733. We looked at all the steps and decided we really didn't need to go inside. This is also the closest Judy's been to church in a long time too. Here she stands by the old city wall. From little nooks in the wall, birds do some people watching. And here's some dogs walking their people around the perimeter of the old city. Legend has it if you kiss the butt of the lion statue, you will someday return to Girona. So they made me do it. Maybe it will work. But I was wondering, who kissed that butt before I did? Exhausted but inspired, it's time to head back to Barcelona. It's been a great day. Dali's delusions, Girona's Jews, wonderful weather, and even ice cream for dessert. It doesn't get any better than this.